We are coaches. We are campus officers.
We are teachers. We are classified. We are instructional coaches.
We are instruction.
We are child welfare and attendance.
We are board members.
We are college ready. We are career ready. We are alumni. We are the future. We are your future.
We are the Chaffee District.
Okay, as you can see from that video, I am doing the Chaffee Joint Union High School District. In short, Chaffee District. And this is Michael Santos. And that last man you saw saying that this is the Chaffee District is Matt Holton. Matt Holton here is the superintendent of this fourth largest school district in the state of California. The school district has 8 comprehensive high schools, a continuation high school, an online high school, a community day school, an adult school, and has several different alternative programs at its midst, making it the fourth largest school district in the state of California. It's very big in the Inland Empire. A lot of people know about this school just because it serviced the communities of Ontario, Rancho Cucamonga, that is, Montclair, some of Chino, Upland, and even some of the I would say Eastville, which is still is Riverside County, just north of Corona. Okay, so I chose this district because mainly I'm a product of the district. I went to Colony High School. I currently right now at Colony High School, and this is a good way for me to actually get to know this school district, to actually familiarize myself with the histories, the statistics that go around. You know, why is this such a good school district that a lot of people actually would love to come to. This page is the SAT page statistics that I found. I chose the 08-09 year because I graduated from that year. And we'll be looking at the most recent one I can find online, which was the 2013-2014 year. And there's just a lot of numbers here. So first column I like to show you is the grade 12 enrollment, so the size of the senior class basically. And as you can see, the size of the senior class has increased just because in the area which the Chaffee District is located at, there's a lot of development within the schools. So the numbers of attendees that are going to the school are going to these schools are increasing. Okay. The number of tested has increased. As you see, most schools doubled their amount or more than doubled. So that's good in the sense that a lot of students are going to take those SATs in hopes of going to college, getting into a good 4-year college, or just attending a college. As you can see, the school I went to is Colony High School. So my year I graduated, only 29 students out of the 482 students actually took the SAT. And looking at it just a couple of years ago, the class of 2014, Colony High School had 526 students, and 259 students took that test. So more than half of those students actually took the test. So which is really, really good. Okay. So the average reading scores look to have improved, whereas the math scores, they fluctuate. But if you look at all these scores, you can see that there's no dramatic change. I mean, I can say, I can say something about, if it was being like, big dramatic, 50 more points or 50 more or 50 below than what it used to be. But we got to remember that these are people. We're talking about students. So every class is going to be different. Every class is going to come in with their own strengths and their own weaknesses. So it's clear that, it is going to be up and down. But looking at the scores, I mean, the majority of them have risen. And just having students actually take this test is, I think, the most important thing right now that we could think about. This slide is the graduation rate slide. Okay, so I couldn't get to find the 2009 year So I went opted to 2010 year, the year after I graduated, but I was able to keep the 2013-14 year. So as you can see, the number of graduation rate has increased by 3%. The dropout rate has decreased, which is really good. I mean, looking at this on paper, it's really good. I mean, if I had kids, I would want my kids to go here because they're improving. They're showing improvement over the years, and that's what you want. Because by the time my kids get in there, then the school district should have improved tremendously from the time I've actually graduated from there. But numbers can be deceiving, and I say that, and I'll talk about that more in this next coming slide. The suspensions and expulsion rate slide, and this is where I want to talk to you about. I mean, the numbers can be deceiving. Okay, yes, the students suspended has decreased. The expulsion rate has decreased. I couldn't find the truancy rate for 2015 year, 2014-15 year. So I'm hoping it decreased. But looking at this and remembering a conversation I had with several teachers and administrators about the difference I've seen in the school at Colony that I'm at, and their biggest thing was they removed a lot of students. They said they removed a lot of the black sheep, let's say, the troublemakers. Basically, the students that weren't cutting it. Now look at these numbers. Okay, it's good on paper. Yeah, yeah, but I mean, are we really helping the kids out? I mean, these trouble students, whether they're in trouble behaviorally or academically, I mean, instead of helping them, are we just getting rid of them? You know, um, how's that helpful? What kind of message is that sending? That if you're not doing at a certain standard, not behaving in a certain way, we're just gonna get rid of you. So, yes, the numbers, if we're looking at the numbers, yeah, oh man, this school district has improved a lot over the years. But then thinking about it, I mean, are we really just helping ourselves and our numbers, or are we helping the kids? What's more important? Something to think about. Now, this next slide is the demographics. Now, demographics in the Chaffey district is the majority is Hispanic or Latino, with over 100. Let's just say let's round it to 100,000 students. Okay, in that population, there's 61,000 Hispanics and Latinos. Okay, the next is around 50,000 white Caucasians. Then I would say roughly 9,000 African Americans, and so on, so on, so on. Look at these numbers. It doesn't mean that one school they all have a balanced racial. Um, some schools are more Hispanic than others. Just thinking about it right now, on the top of my head, several schools above the 10 freeway, let's say Alto Loma, Rancho Cucamonga, and Los Osos High School, are dominantly white Caucasian. Okay, but if you go below the 10 freeway, let's say Chaffey, Ontario, Colony, Montclair, those schools are predominantly Hispanic and Latinos. So there's a big divide, and I'll show you a map of where the schools are located, and you can see the big difference of let's say how socioeconomics are placing these students. Where in the mid Ontario, which is let's say you know, lower economically wise, the majority of them are Hispanic or Latino. Where if you go to more northern schools are predominantly white Caucasian, those tend to be more the well-off areas. Okay, Rancho, Los Osos. So the demographic wise, majority is Hispanic and Latino. Next is white and Caucasian, but it's not evenly balanced between the schools here. I mean, we're talking about 8 different high schools. So each location of the high schools you can see, and if you're familiar with the district, you know that in certain areas you're gonna have certain you're gonna have more Hispanics than whites, more whites than blacks, and so on. Okay.
Okay, so in this next one, I want to talk about the Chafee District development. This is new stuff that they have done to the district, upgrades and such not. Well, a lot of it has been materialistic, more of infrastructure and upgrading within all the schools. So first thing that's noticeable when you come to these schools is the solar panels in the parking lots. Every school in the Chafee district actually has solar panels in its parking lot. So they actually provide shade structure. There's actually a shade structure really for the cars. But then the school actually uses the solar panels to gather up energy to help supply the schools. Now I'm not too it doesn't 100%, the schools are not 100% efficient with this, but the majority of the power does come from the solar panels, so it does save them money in the long run. And I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's I talked to some teachers, and it's also a tax write-off. The whole thing going green, solar panels, it's really looks really good. So I think they got a deal with that. Also, now this is every school on these next few things vary because some of them already have these new items that other schools don't. So if they do already have them, they just got upgrades on their whatever they have previously. So the new classrooms, for example, in Ontario High School, they have a new science building. It's a two-story science building that they created because at that location they don't have classrooms that are designed just for science. The necessities with like sinks, Bunsen burners, um, cabinets, and so on. So this was a new thing for the Chafee District to provide every school with a science tools for their classroom. Also stadiums, athletics. So now every school, this is the first year that every school will be graduating at their own high school. No longer will schools have to share fields. For the longest time, Etiwanda, Ontario High School used to come down to Colony High School to graduate, which means that Colony would graduate one day, Etiwanda the next day, and then Ontario. So no longer this will happen. Everybody will graduate on the same day at their own stadiums, which is really good. And the schools that already have their own stadiums will be getting upgraded because these new stadiums are really nice. Schools will also be getting auditoriums because a lot of schools don't have their auditoriums. So now their extracurricular, their arts programs, their dance and drama can now utilize their resources there at their own school and provide entertainment to their community. And a couple upgrades, upgrading on security, upgrading Wi-Fi, repainting the schools, making them look nice, and upgrading safety. This all comes down to their expansion. Now, people ask where does all this money come from? Well, a lot of this money has come from the Chafee District from them saving a lot of money during the recession. Just because when the bad times were going rough, they actually saved a lot of money during that time, just in case if not knowing how the economy was going to go. So if they kept on going further, they would actually have a lot of money to provide the future generations. Now that the economy's turned around, they're able to spend a lot more money. So this is really nice for these incoming generations coming into this Chafee School District. Now, with the whole board meeting I went to, I know I've been talking a lot, um, but that's what this board meeting was a lot of. I mean, the beginning started off really good. Them recognizing students because this was the end of the year board meeting, so a lot of student achievement, good grades, perfect attendance, and all that. It was good to see the students get recognition from the actual board members and principals from around the district. So it was kind of a cool thing. Not many students, I would say about 15 students there. But the perfect attendance, they discussed that the local Honda dealer is actually doing a perfect attendance award, actually giving students actual free Hondas, free cars, and all you gotta do is have perfect attendance to enter a drawing. And I believe it was around like four students, four, two, four, around there, I believe it's 4 students won Hondas, so it was actually pretty good. But then after that, it was just business, business, business. A lot of like, okay, we need to approve this funding here, this funding, or upgrading this, or renewing some contract. I'm not gonna lie, I was about to doze off, but it was actually a good experience to go and see. I mean, it was a good experience for me because got to kiss butt and make make myself look good being at the board meeting. So overall, it was a success. On my recommendations, the first thing I would like to recommend is more resources to help students. So this is resources just like, and this falls into instructional staff as well. With all these issues of behavioral students and students that are being suspended and not graduating, instead of getting rid of these troubled students, let's find a way to help them. So more programs to help these students, more people to talk to, more staff. I put instructional staff, but maybe let's educate our staff on how to handle these things, how to help these students, and not just throw them to the side. Because that's the biggest issue I see with all the schools is they basically just dump the students off. And there's a high school, well, it's a continuation school in the district known as Valley View, and that school is known as basically the rejects high school, where if you have trouble in other schools, or you're doing bad, or you're just a misbehaved student, they just send you to Valley View. So it has a bad rep. We need to help our students. We need more resources, and but I feel like the biggest thing is we need to spend money on classes to help educate our staff, because I feel like our staff is just with that whole they just feel like they just kick them off and dump the problem on somebody else, which is not the right answer. Another thing is money into academics. This district spends tons of money on athletics. You know, stadiums, equipment. You know, Colony High School just spent $10,000 on new sets of hurdles for their track team. Like, really? I mean, we can use that money for more technology, upgrade technology. We're already upgrading our Wi-Fi. So just priorities, basically. My recommendation is think priorities. The issue is that we need to have a balanced spending. Basically, have a better priority of what we're going to put our money into.